Hey guys, I'm gonna do a little revisit of the fluid film and how it performed for me on my truck. About a year ago, I did a first application on my Toyota Tundra, and my truck gets used for a lot of, it gets used a lot, dirty conditions, a lot of water issues, and so I'm trying to save it by trying this stuff out. This is how much I've used of the can. There's a paint gun still full of it, but over the past year I've sucked down probably about 3/4 of a gallon, and I've gone through about I don't know, 2 or 3 of those cans so far. They're good for like little areas. But before we get into that, I did some work on the four-wheeler yesterday, the Rat Rod Quad, and while I had it in the garage, I sprayed it down with fluid film too. And as you can see last night, the moisture that got on it, and just kind of showing, you know, how it works. If you can see the moisture just kind of like beating right up on it, it just makes that moisture barrier in between. So that's kind of what the idea is that you're going for. This will never get painted, so I just kind of sprayed the whole thing down. I want to see how it holds up to like just being out in the weather and rain and everything, and what it does to the material, if it washes off or it stays on pretty good. Generally, it seems like on the truck, I'll show you in a minute, that it kind of collects dirt, and that dirt makes like a scale on it. All right, let's go to the truck. I probably put about 15,000 miles on it. And if you first look at it, it looks like there's really nothing left on it anymore. But when you look more into the heart of it, those areas you can kind of still tell are still somewhat wet. Again, it's looking pretty dry, Well, what happens is, when you scratch it, then you could see, I'll get rid of that light, I don't need it. You could see how the dirt kind of stick to it, and it made like a, I don't know what you want to call it. It's just the combination of the dirt and the oil, because it's some like tooth or some body to it, some thickness to it. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to hit it again and go over it. And this time I'm going to be a little bit more liberal. Last time I kind of stayed away from exhaust, I stayed away from rubber components. I wasn't sure how it was going to operate, but what I was told is actually it holds up quite well to that. It doesn't, it's not petroleum based, so it doesn't damage the rubber pieces like sway arm bushings. The only thing you really want to stay away from is probably brakes, for obvious reasons. So you can see like how much dirt gets piled up here. But if you rub it off, that's what you see underneath it, is just it's still, you can tell that it's still there and still doing some protecting. So I ran around with an air gun yesterday, just kind of blew off the really big stuff, you know, around the mud flaps and all the areas where it really kind of collects really thick. But you can still see there's plenty of dirt on it. Again, I'm just going to leave that on there. It actually kind of helps. As long as it's dry, it actually takes the oil and it gives the oil some, I guess, allow it to build like thickness to it. You can see all this is kind of, you can tell it definitely needs another coat. And you're supposed to do several applications to it. The Rick Fix, one of the other guys, he was using a similar stuff. I believe it's the same thing, and it takes a few applications, probably about once a year, and once you get to a certain level, it'll get pretty chunky. So that's what we're about to go do. I got my little heater going over here, and hopefully that's warming up the can pretty good, just because this stuff seems like it kind of coagulates. It's clumping. Sounds good. Alright, we'll kill that so we don't have a fire hazard. I'm just going to put a paper mask on to help with the fumes. And while we're at it, we're going to go plug a fan in over here. Going high tech. Let that draw the air out. gonna get noisy because the compressor's gonna run too. I skipped my shower this morning for obvious reasons. I'm gonna wait till I'm done with this before I clean up. I'm gonna go pop the mask on. I'm gonna try it without the glasses. Okay. This will start in the back. I'm gonna try to keep the camera out of harm's way. Let's see. That's half a can so far. I think what I'm going to go do is put that on the heat a little bit more and let it, at first it was pretty good, then it started not spraying quite as thick as it was. It's cold out, it's probably about 35 degrees out right now. But you get the general idea. My opinion is I like the stuff so far. You know, it's kind of a wait and see as far as how it works long term, but I don't see any more damage on the truck than there was last year, so it hasn't gotten any worse. And I think after getting several applications on it, probably about maybe one more after this and another maybe in the spring or next fall, that will be pretty much good to go. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. My evaluation of it so far is thumbs up, and take care. Bye.